Switching things up, a self introduction. My name is Ashalon. I am 23 years old. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And switching things up to achieve a career that I've always wanted is what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. Um, Basically, decided to return to school to obtain a degree while working a full time job. Took a lot of time and planning. If we go back, starting in high school, uh, it was where I decided that physical therapy was the career that I wanted to pursue. The year I graduated was the first year of physical therapy, became a doctorate. It almost broke my heart. Just the thought of having to add so many extra years almost made me rethink my career choice. But I love everything about it, so I stuck with it. Attended a couple schools and didn't really find that I fit into their way or understood their route of becoming a physical therapist, but I still tried. Uh, then life hit, it happens. I no longer was attending school, went from working part time to full time. I did want to go back to school, but next thing I know, I couldn't see how it fit into my life anymore. I needed the money to pay bills, and I couldn't see myself making ends meet by cutting my hours to return to school. Time just flew by after that, and I could never find the right combination until now, that is. Decided to return to school to obtain a degree while working a full time job. A lot of time and planning took place into that one, I promise you on that. I could, I've never really been a big fan of going to school, to be honest, like actually attending and everything like that. But I know that it's necessary, in achieving my dream career, and I'm not half bad at it, if I must say myself. Uh, I've seemed to connect with multiple fields that I could choose from, but none made me feel the same way that I do about physical therapy. The challenges of life and anything else that could have been thrown at me couldn't stop me from working to achieve my dream job, even if it took me some time to get there in the long journey I have ahead of me. Uh, I've never really been the one to quit something I've put my mind to, but this time was a little different. It wasn't a decision I made alone, but one that was, kind of forced on me a little bit. I always thought if I ever took a break from school, that it was a great chance that I wouldn't go back. I mean, who wants to go back to school? Uh, Being a hard worker was fine and all, but I always felt as if there was more. I needed more to be satisfied with my life. Only thing was, I always needed to manage the life that I already had, but couldn't figure out how that could work with the pay rate and the number of hours I was putting in just to be all right. I tried the first year, go away to college, try to focus mainly on school thing, ended up joining a workforce program because I needed money, something to do on my spare time. Then the work study job thing wasn't enough, so I looked outside for outside jobs and tried a third shift factory job. Just think, full time student, full time employee. I was exhausted. I lasted for a little while though. They let me go after a few months because I couldn't stay over winter break. I was having knee surgery and needed some time off, and that made things worse. I guess it was too early to be asking for time off, but it worked out fine because I completely hated the job. I'm not gonna lie. Saved up enough cash to get me by for a while. I went on to the next thing, just keep switching things up. I found myself coming back home every weekend, which was about a 45-minute drive. I went to Whitewater, by the way, so that's that 45 minutes or so. I was hanging out with friends, which one of them got me into their job at Domino's. I was only working weekends. I was a delivery driver. I liked this job. The money wasn't half bad either, so I stuck with it, even after moving back home. I had no intentions of returning back to Whitewater the following semester. I got accepted into UWM, so that was my next move. things worked differently there. When it came down to their way of becoming a physical therapist, I guess, I felt as if I was starting over, even though I already just put in a year's worth of work. I followed through with it. I tried. I was trying to see if this more in depth route was going to be worth it. Then, boom, one small slip up by missing one too many classes later came back to haunt me. Boy, I tell you. After my first semester at UWM, I prepared for my second one. Class schedule filled out, the whole nine. A few weeks before the semester started, I got a letter in the mail stating that they sent my financial aid back because they thought I withdrew. How could this happen? Everything was all set. To make things worse, the advisor that I needed to talk to didn't come back to school until a couple of days before class started. I couldn't allow them to possibly make me behind in classes that were already going to be hard enough, so I didn't return. Work it was for me. I had bills to pay anyway. I couldn't find the time to go back. Eventually it'll work out. Even though I never wanted to stop attending college, I realized that it may have been the best thing. It may have taken me over 2 years to find the right balance, the right job, pay rate, hours, flexibility between work and school to get back to it. But I did. I may have been taking a slower route this time, and it seems to be the most effective. I am in the process of obtaining a degree in physical therapy assistant to hopefully get my foot in the door while I work on my physical therapy degree. Gaining well needed experience along the way. I have a long journey and I'm not giving up, no matter how many times I have to switch things up. See ya.